Good morning, everyone. So I want to thank Singapore for organizing such an outstanding event. As I've been interacting with people over the last day, the energy, the enthusiasm, the recognition for the importance of cyber, it is just enthusiastic throughout the room. So thank you for the outstanding opportunity to be here. Deputy Prime Minister Teo, Minister Yakov, David Koh, and the government of Singapore, thank you. It's just an outstanding event. I also want to thank the ASEAN ministers, the other participants from around the world who are here today. This year, ASEAN celebrates its 50th anniversary, and I'd like to congratulate you on this important accomplishment. We're also proud to mark 40 years of U.S.-ASEAN relations. The United States remains strong in its commitment to Southeast Asia, and in recognition of that, President Trump will travel to the Philippines in November for the East Asia Summit and the U.S.-ASEAN Summit as well. So there's opportunity and challenge ahead for cyber. Southeast Asia's population exceeds 600 million people, and according to the 2016 report by Google and Temasek, Google's Asia internet economy could grow to be worth a massive $200 billion annually by 2026. With 260 million users now and an estimated 480 million by 2020, Southeast Asia is the world's fastest growing market, adding over 3.8 million new users a month, or 125,000 users each day. That's a remarkable number. Think back to our world when just 10 years ago the iPhone didn't even exist. Today I would expect almost everybody in the room has a powerful computer or two in their pocket. Perhaps these devices are connecting you to the sum total of the human knowledge. If you think about it, you can find out information about the smallest, most esoteric detail that you need to know. It travels with you. It's available all the time, anywhere you go. This connectivity brings constant access to your own data, whether it's banking, government information, even the thermostat in your house. Our devices can reach out and tap even more powerful computer in the cloud to leverage massive data analytics. Your phone knows where it is on the earth, and it can give you detailed directions anywhere you want to go. The compass, the GPS, even the camera in your smartphone bridge the world between the physical and the virtual. The internet and the new tools that operate through these phones have transformed the economic and social fabric of the world, enabling growth and development on a massive scale, on a scale we can only begin to imagine. With all of this power and capability, the computers in your life also introduce risks, and we need to think about whether we're prepared to address those risks today. Are we on a path with this technology that we can sustain? Because it's accelerating, it's growing, and it's not going to slow. It's simply awesome how this technology is transforming our lives, but we are not yet appropriately managing the risks. Being successful in this future strategy, it's going to take planning. It's going to take the partnerships. It's going to take strategies from each and every one of us. And it's going to take collaboration between the industry we've brought together at this conference and the government leaders and thinkers. It's going to require our academic institutions. We should be mindful that cyber threats are evolving. They're growing more persistent, more diverse, and more frequent. All of us face risks from state and non-state actors that conduct malicious cyber activity for the purpose of stealing money, capturing secrets or personal information, destroying our data, or harming critical infrastructure. We see other types of harm as well, such as online terrorists, radicalization, and recruiting. Given the transnational nature of the internet and the communications infrastructure that supports it, international cooperation is essential to effectively addressing these incidents of concern. So we applaud the ASEAN nations for taking a step forward, advancing the international cooperation with such efforts as developing the strategy for ASEAN, cyber strategy for ASEAN, holding up cyber norms workshop earlier this year, and opening the ASEAN Ministerial Conference on Cybersecurity to dialogue with partners. There were 2 different US-ASEAN summits last year where the US and ASEAN leaders affirmed a shared commitment to security and stability in cyberspace. We really believe that it's important to build on this shared commitment. The United States remains strongly committed to partnering with Southeast Asia and promoting an open, interoperable, secure, and reliable information and communications infrastructure. That's really key to supporting international trade, commerce, and strengthens our international security, where it fosters free speech and the innovation, all the economic benefits that the internet has delivered to us. We're working with ASEAN in many ways to ensure we can all reap the benefits of cyberspace. In 2017, we've offered or will offer cybersecurity, digital economy, and cybercrime workshops for the benefit of all ASEAN member states under the US-Singapore third country training program. So let me thank all those involved in that really important work. It's just outstanding. I'm also happy to announce we've stationed a regional cyber legal advisor in Malaysia, and we provide training in cybercrime to law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges throughout Southeast Asia. For example, we recently conducted a digital evidence and cybercrime training course for over 250 judges, prosecutors, policy officials, and law enforcement officers in the region. It's this kind of capacity building that we're committed to. We're also working with National Computer Security Incident Response Teams, the CSIRTs, to build capacity in the region to respond to significant cyber threats that cross national borders. And our vision for the future is one where all countries will be able to share in the extraordinary social value and economic returns the greater internet can offer to each of us. This is why the US is providing capacity building and related technical assistance through the new US-ASEAN Connect Digital Economy series to promote the growth of the digital economy in ASEAN and help even greater access to quality internet connectivity. This is yet another tangible step that we're taking from the United States as we continue to contribute to the greater outcomes delivered through the internet. We've also really been gratified by the collaborative efforts in the G7 and G20 to promote connectivity with the help of partners in Asia, such as the minister sitting here today. The United States will continue to promote efforts to connect more of the world's population to the internet, because this connectivity is too important to let anyone behind. So let me talk a little bit about the digital economy, openness, and the workforce. We're working to preserve the promise of the internet, which has brought unprecedented benefits, especially openness. We can do this through adopting peaceful policies that enable innovation and help our people benefit from new technological developments. This includes balancing security and protecting rights online, ensuring that information and communications technologies are affordable and accessible to all people, and also protecting the free flow of data within and, so importantly, across borders, ensuring that the consumer's privacy is protected. With this last point in mind, we'd like to work with you to promote wider adoption of the APAC cross-border privacy rules systems. The CBPR, which is a voluntary interoperable mechanism that provides strong protections for privacy, but is flexible enough to accommodate different legal regimes found in the Asia-Pacific region, respecting those sovereign nations. Putting strong privacy protections such as the CBPR in place will strengthen security and consumer confidence in the use of ICT and promote the growth of all of our economies. It is really important. We must protect our citizens and businesses from cybercrime, ransomware, and other theft of their ideas and innovation. But to do this, we need a trained and capable workforce. In the US, we assess we are 300,000 people short of the cyber experts we need to work in government and industry. And by 2022, it's estimated there will be a shortage of 1.8 million cybersecurity professionals globally. That's a massive shortfall. These jobs are not only important to keeping our country's businesses and citizens safe, but they also are highly paid jobs, and in many cases can be done from anywhere. So we see huge economic benefit. When the internet is open and interoperable, countries around the world can compete to offer the best talent in the global market. We also see an important role for industry. The shortage of skilled professionals puts a premium on cooperation between governments and industry. In our country, and I'm sure many of yours, critical infrastructure such as the energy sector, the telecommunications sector, the financial sector, the healthcare sector, and others are privately owned and operated. What this means is there's a responsibility on the part of those companies to address cybersecurity in a very robust way. Our government helps with regulation to ensure those companies meet some minimum standards, but often there isn't enough of those rules in a changing threat landscape. As cyber threat evolves and incidents become more serious, the private sector plays an essential role in assuring we can respond and manage risks in cyberspace. They must take on a significant amount of this risk reduction for us. We only have to look at the recent breach of the U.S. credit rating agency Equifax and the terrible implications of the personal data loss to know that problems at companies can have huge impact to all of our citizens. What data is held by commercial companies that can impact your citizens? How do we ensure that the government is aware and ready to respond in the case of another breach of a similar type? How do we balance the internet age agility and fairness and transparency in marketplaces with the regulations that keep us safe? Those are the questions we must wrestle with. I want to recognize work in the ASEAN Regional Forum, the ARF. Across the region and across the globe, nations are recognizing the need to work together and ensure that the prosperity and innovation brought by the digital age is not undermined by criminals, terrorists, and malicious state actors. Last month, our nation displayed this very same resolve in Manila, where ministers from all 27 countries of the ASEAN Regional Forum took a bold step in approving a new pillar dedicated solely to cybersecurity. The ARF intersessional meeting on ICT's security was the result. We applaud the Philippines as the ARF chair and Japan, Malaysia, and Singapore as the co-chairs. And it's this new ARF intersessional meeting for their visionary leadership in redoubling the ARF's dedication to regional cooperation on cyber issues. The intersessional meeting will provide a much-needed dedicated forum. It's long overdue to step in implementing the 2015 ARF work plan on ICT security, which aims to prevent conflict and crisis by developing confidence. In particular, the U.S. welcomes the mandate to develop and implement practical cyber confidence building measures that would reduce the risk of misunderstanding, escalation, and conflict in cyberspace. In light of growing threats in the region and globally, we strongly urge the new ARF intersessional on ICT security to move quickly on the confidence building efforts on cyber. The U.S. stands ready to support those practical confidence building measures that would reduce the risk of misunderstanding, escalation, and conflict in cyberspace. Which brings me to the important topic of deterrence and consequences. Even as we promote trust and confidence, we must recognize that malicious cyber activity increasingly threatens to turn the internet into a liability rather than an asset. Rising levels of cybercrime and ransomware cost billions of dollars a year globally. Irresponsible states propagate malware that disrupts hospitals, transportations, and energy networks. Innocent users have little capacity to defend themselves. The international community has moved toward consensus in recent years. Consensus that existing international law, including the UN Charter, applies to state behavior in cyberspace. That's such a key and important philosophy. States must act in cyberspace under accepted and established international obligations and commitments. Those who argue otherwise are either attempting to rewrite new rules to their advantage or avoid constraints on dangerous and destabilizing behavior. It's unacceptable. Working with the international community, the United States has also championed the affirmation of additional voluntary norms of responsible state behavior that apply in peacetime. These include norms such as a state should not conduct cyber-enabled theft of intellectual property for commercial gain. States should not damage or disrupt critical infrastructure, providing services to the public, and states should cooperate to mitigate malicious cyber activity emanating from their territory. This good and necessary work has created a benchmark against which we can assess states' behavior online. There must be consequences to states that try to disrupt critical infrastructure or seek to undermine our electoral institutions. The community of responsible states must come together to call out bad behavior and hold those malicious states accountable in order to get them to stop that behavior and come back into compliance with the international consensus around how states should act in cyberspace. It's great that we're establishing norms, but we also must improve the costs to going outside those norms. So in conclusion, all of us here representing the governments in the private sector, the academics and civil society, we owe it to the citizens of the world to work together in good faith to preserve an open, interoperable, reliable, and secure global internet that will lead to stronger and more prosperous societies. Thank you all for being here together to work with us, to work with each other, to work in a community to build this secure future that has such promise for us all. Thank you very much.